Time now for the good, the bad, and the ugly. Up first, the good. A deputy springs into action to save a toddler's life. This surveillance video showing Deputy Steve Donaldson performing CPR for a 15-month-old who suddenly stopped breathing in a Tampa tax collector's office. Deputy Donaldson later honored as a everyday hero.
Next up, the bad. A real-life Scrooge at our Florida restaurant. Someone left this note at the St. Augustine Eatery saying Christmas music was offensive. Consider playing holiday music or less religious-themed music. The diner's owner posted the note on Facebook. It's since gone viral. That owner joins Fox and Friends next hour.
And the ugly, stop freaking out, Internet. This Fisher-Price happy hour play set for toddlers is just a joke. That's what Fisher-Price is saying. The photoshopped box showing toddlers hanging out at a toy bar becoming a PR nightmare for Fisher-Price.
That's Ted Danson behind the bar. Norm on the left. We asked you to keep talking. Do you believe Rex Tillerson will be a good pick for Secretary of State? Do you know anything about him?
Here's what some of you had to say. Jeremy doesn't agree, posting on Facebook. Personally, I think this is just a flat-out terrible pick. Great, you're a CEO, but that doesn't mean you have foreign policy experience.
Jean emailed us. These appointments are men who are the most capable, not the most popular with the politicians.
And Ray on Twitter says, not sure, maybe not, but I trust President Trump to pick the very best for our country. Show them how it's done.
Let's keep the conversation going. You can log on to Fox and Friends' first Facebook page right now, right after the show for a live debate. Use that hashtag, keep talking.
Yeah, and thanks for joining us right here.
That's right. Fox and Friends starts right now.
Bye-bye.
A Fox News alert. Sources confirm President-elect Donald Trump will nominate ExxonMobil CEO Rex Tillerson as the Secretary of State.
That official announcement expected to become official over the next couple of days.
Yep, that's right. Kristen Fisher is live to do some deep dive into this from Washington, D.C. about also not only who he is, but what about the heavy criticism Tillerson is already facing? Hey, Kristen.
Already, guys. Can you believe it? Good morning. Yeah, so this criticism is coming from both Republicans and Democrats. They argue that for a Secretary of State to be this close to Russian President Vladimir Putin would be bad for the United States.
It's a matter of concern to me that he has such a close personal relationship with Vladimir Putin.
I am concerned about his relationship with Russia. We want to make sure that the Secretary of State is a person who represents America.
But what those senators see as a disadvantage, Mr. Trump sees as a positive, as something he wants in his Secretary of State. He likes that Rex Tillerson is a businessman, the CEO of ExxonMobil, who has done, to use Trump's words, massive deals in Russia. Listen to what his incoming Chief of Staff, Reince Priebus, said yesterday.
And the fact that he actually has a relationship with people like Vladimir Putin and others across the globe is something that we shouldn't be embarrassed by. It's something that I think could be a huge advantage to the United States.
Now today, Mr. Trump will be meeting with two of his former rivals, Carly Fiorina and Rick Santorum. He'll also be meeting with Idaho Congressman Raul Labrador and West Virginia Senator Joe Manchin. So another very busy Monday for the president-elect. But don't expect any announcement about Secretary of State today. We're told that should come sometime over the next few days.
Stay tuned.
Brian Ainsley and Steve.
All right. Thank you very much, Kristen Fisher. So you're wondering, who is this guy and who on earth would ever suggest him? Well, as it turns out, in the month of November, Donald Trump had a conversation, actually two of them, with former Secretary of State Connie Rice and Defense Secretary Robert Gates. And who did they suggest? They suggested that guy right there, 64-year-old Rex Tillerson, who has spent his entire adult career at ExxonMobil.
Well, he's like Donald Trump in the fact that he, or a lot of Donald Trump's voters, I should say, he worked his way up in the company.
Yep.
Started as an engineer there in 1975, has been there for all of this time, and now he is the CEO of the company. People like that American story. Plus, he's running the largest oil company in the world, and he does have relationships with heads of state. He has relationships with people who are running all different countries in 6 different continents. So
Sure.
he has a lot of experience.
Look, we have a vetting process. Everybody wants to find out more, even Donald Trump's biggest defenders and his biggest critics, because we want to know, can he go to bat for us the way he went bat for Exxon? Is he going to worry about keeping that Russian Freedom Friendship Award more than he'll worry about America? If he has the right answers, he'll get the green light. If he does not have the right answers, he probably shouldn't. Let's listen to what Donald Trump said about his finalist for the position.
So let me ask you about Rex Tillerson,
Okay.
head of ExxonMobil. Why does a business executive make sense as the chief diplomat?
Well, in his case, he's much more than a business executive. I mean, he's a world-class player. He's in charge of, I guess, the largest company in the world. He's in charge of an oil company that's pretty much double the size of his next nearest competitor. It's been a company that's been unbelievably managed. And to me, a great advantage is he knows many of the players. And he knows them well. He does massive deals in Russia. He does massive deals for the company, not for himself, for the company.
He's the Secretary of State.
No, but I have tremendous respect for him. He's a world-class player.
Absolutely. So why on earth would Mr. Tillerson be against those sanctions that the United States slapped on Russia? Well, keep in mind it was a couple of years ago after what was going on in Crimea and the conflicts with the Ukraine. Keep in mind, ExxonMobil had business dealings over there, right? According to the Wall Street Journal this morning, in a Securities and Exchange Commission filing in 2014, Exxon said that those particular sanctions were costing ExxonMobil $1 billion a year. So if you're the guy who's running that company and some government law is keeping you from $1 billion a year, you're going to be unhappy with it, which completely explains that particular standpoint.
But that's just to me. Do you understand that we can't have Russia invading another country? And are you going to think twice before you put sanctions on Russia if it knows some of your friends are going to be hurt and some of the maybe even 401ks are going to be hurt?
The flip side of that is, couldn't it be helpful that he does have relationships with other leaders in other countries, because it can help us when we're negotiating with them? Plus, the oil business, we don't want to rely on other countries. He can help improve the oil here in America. So
I'm pretty sure. Yeah, I'm pretty sure we got the oil down, and you're right, Ainsley, 100%. If you know the leader of Yemen and know the players in some of these war-torn nations, which, by the way, he goes to the worst of the worst. I get that
because they have oil.
Yeah, my feeling is this: are you willing to go to bat? The same thing you got to ask all these billionaires and these very successful people in the cabinet. Are you going to fight for us the way you fought for your personal wealth and your company, whether it's Goldman Sachs or anybody else? And if that answer is correct during the hearings, during the hearings, game on.
Right. Look, when you're the CEO, you try to make as much money possible. So it'll be interesting. At this point so far, no Senate Republicans have said they would vote against him. And in fact, over the weekend on Saturday, Bob Corker, senator from Tennessee, said that Mr. Tillerson is a very impressive individual.
Now let's talk about the other big theme. And it was just really almost comical how everyone just suddenly realized that there was a hacking going on when it came to the 2015/16 election. And everyone's focused on Russia. And does the CIA, they say 17 separate agencies have concluded, according to the Washington Post and New York Times, that Russia was behind the hack of the DNC and John Podesta's emails.
Well, everyone's wondering, can they prove it? Have they proven it?
Right, and that became the squabble over the weekend, because the CIA talked to those two lefty newspapers and said, you know, we're pretty sure it was Russia. Then the FBI, they talked to them the next day, and the FBI said, we have no evidence that it was Russia. So when Donald Trump, the president-elect, sat down with Chris Wallace on Saturday for Fox News Sunday, he was asked about this, and he said the whole Russia helped me win the election, that's baloney. Listen.
I think it's ridiculous. I think it's just another excuse. I don't believe it. I don't know why. And I think it's just, they talked about all sorts of things. Every week it's another excuse. We had a massive landslide victory, as you know, in the Electoral College. I guess the final numbers are now at 306, and she, down to a very low number. No, I don't believe that at all. I think the Democrats are putting it out because they suffered one of the greatest defeats in the history of politics in this country. And frankly, I think they're putting it out, and it's ridiculous. We ought to get back to making America great again, which is what we're going to do.
Among the Republicans who said this that happened was McCain, Peter King, as well as Devin Nunes, who said, yeah, Russia's behind it. What his point is that if you want to do an investigation into hacking, great idea. Our cybersecurity is terrible. We have to focus on it. But if you're Donald Trump, think about this. The minute he wins, there's protest in the street. Then there's going to be a massive recount, and the Democrats get involved in that. Then all of a sudden people say, no, it's fake news. And now you're saying it's Russia. He's saying, I got 300 plus electoral votes. Right. Can you please please just understand that I won because the people wanted me more?
People are saying, move on, it's Christmas time. But the sources with the Washington Post are saying what happened is Russia hacked into the DNC's emails and RNC's emails and decided to only release what was in the DNC emails.
Sure. And what does the RNC say? We would never hack. So I have a problem with that story because it's fundamentally wrong.
Well, James Comey said there's no way to even tell. Remember, he said we will never know if Russia hacked into Hillary Clinton's.
And here's the thing. A company called CrowdStrike, which is a computer security company, detected the hackers inside the DNC. They saw them while it was happening. Now, here's the thing. You can leave behind little footprints that would indicate who exactly did the hacking. Some of the stuff left at the DNC looked like the same kind of malware that Russians have been known to use. But Russians aren't the only ones who could use it. For instance, if another country or some other bad actors wanted to make it look like the Russians, you just leave that behind. And that's kind of what former U.S. Ambassador John Bolton, who could be number 2 at state, said just yesterday. Listen to this.
You have to know the facts here, and it's not at all clear to me, just viewing this from the outside, that this hacking into the DNC and the RNC computers was not a false flag operation. Let's remember what FBI Director James Comey said dealing with Hillary's homebrew server. He said, we found no direct evidence of Foreign Intelligence Service penetration, but given the nature of this, we didn't expect to, meaning a really sophisticated Foreign Intelligence Service would not leave any cyber fingerprints. And yet people say they did leave cyber fingerprints in the hacks regarding our election. So the question that has to be asked is, why did the Russians run their smart intelligence service against Hillary's server, but their dumb intelligence services against the election?
That's right. So somebody left fingerprints that made it look like Russia. Was it Russia? If you're Russia, you're going to leave fingerprints to make it look like you? Huh?
Well, he's saying, and when Hillary Clinton was under investigation, there was no way to tell if Russia was involved or if her emails were hacked or who was involved. But yet with Donald Trump, there is a way to tell.
And by the way, for these Democrats who say, I really got to get to the bottom of this, why weren't you as curious when someone used a private server in Westchester County? You didn't really care that we were susceptible then with the sitting Secretary of State. And when there was an investigation there, people said it was partisanship, and now you have a different attitude. If Russia's bonded, we should find out. But overall, you know what the message is? Cybersecurity should be a primary target for our new government.
Or how about the DNC trying to do this within their own party, trying to remember when they were releasing the questions, Donna Brazile was releasing the questions to Hillary Clinton before the debate?
But also the Democrats said, we have no information that any of this stuff is true. Well, apparently now they seceded that. It's interesting, Julian Assange, who would know where the source was, he said it was not a Russian hacker. He says it was insider, and it was a leak, not a hack. And as you know, there's a big difference.
Whatever happened to him, meanwhile, Ambassador Bolton's going to become in a little while. We do have reason to believe he would not accept a deputy position. Meanwhile, Heather Nauert's here with the latest news.
Good morning.
Yeah,
How was your weekend?
It was a terrific
How was the
weekend.
game?
It was fantastic. Navy lost, but a great game played by all. Look forward to hearing about your weekends as well. Good morning, and hope you're off to a great day. We begin some with extreme weather right now. Snow, sleet, and plunging temperatures already wreaking havoc on the Northeast as Mother Nature unleashes her fury, at least on the Midwest so far. The winter weather creating a near catastrophe. In snowy Detroit, the Delta flight, packed with nearly 70 passengers, skidding right off the runway as it on Sunday. Watch.
Did a good job keeping everyone calm and got us all off the plane in an orderly fashion.
Several inches of snow creating a nightmare for travelers in other parts of the country. The average wait time at Chicago's O'Hare Airport right now is 90 minutes. A Fox News alert, a wave of terror striking 3 major cities, leaving scores of innocent people dead. In Cairo, Egypt, a bomb tearing through the city's main cop. 25 people. Women and children. And then in Somalia, a car bomb exploded, 400 others injured. Back here at home, a live look at the White House this morning, where one major Democrat may already be staking his claim to 2020.
Well, look, age could be very much an issue, and it may not be. It depends on the state of my health and the health of whomever is running.
Well, a one-time frontrunner for the 2016 nomination, Vice President Joe Biden stunning Democrats, turning down a chance to succeed President Obama. But when asked about his role over the next 4 years, the vice president says, quote, "I'm not going anywhere." And those are your headlines. Got a lot going on this morning.
Joe Biden was actually Barack Obama's first choice,
Yeah.
and second was then Elizabeth Warren, and then
Third was Hillary Clinton,
Yeah.
who's off hiking.
He could have won.
See you soon.
Thank you, Heather.
Thank you.
All right, coming up straight ahead, the left-wing media hammering President-elect Donald Trump's decision not to get daily intel briefings. But didn't President Obama do the same thing in some cases, according to reports? The side of the story you will not hear anywhere else, more than likely.
And our colleges use safe spaces to protect kids from speech they just don't like. That's scary to them. But now 2 students have had enough. Wait until you see what they're doing. Straight ahead live on Fox and Friends.
You are getting the presidential daily brief only once a week.
Well, I get it when I need it.
But is there some skepticism?
First of all, these are very good people that are giving me the briefings. And I say, if something should change from this point, immediately call me. I'm available on 1 minute's notice.
All right, many in the press in full-fledged panic mode over President-elect Trump's decision to accept intelligence reports maybe once a week on a need-to-know basis. How quick they forget in some cases that President Obama did kind of the same thing. Here to react is editor-in-chief of the Daily Caller News Foundation, Christopher Bedford. Christopher, first off, your reaction to Donald Trump's statement.
I think it's fun to see this newfound concern amongst the media. They've been in the panic mode, as you pointed out, since basically Election Day, when they suddenly realized that this was not going the way that they'd anticipated with Hillary Clinton. And now they're really worried about Donald Trump's relationship with the CIA. They're saying that this kind of thing leads to mistrust between the president and his intelligence agents, and they're very worried about that. But President Barack Obama, when he came into office, his deputies they'd called waterboarding torture, which is a war crime. His deputies, like Attorney General Eric Holder, had called for prosecutions of CIA agents. That is actually coming in with a bad relationship with the CIA. So far, Donald Trump and the CIA's relationship, I don't think it's going to be a serious issue, and I think the press is overblowing this dramatically.
Right, so here's some of the headlines. On CBS, they wrote Donald Trump on less frequent intelligence briefings, quote, "I get it when I need it." Huffington Post says Trump says he doesn't need intelligence briefing because he's a smart business insider. Trump says, "I'm a smart person, don't need intelligence briefings every single day." Now, in particular, every president's got his own set of challenges judged by the time. Like, how did Bill Clinton like it?
Bill Clinton worked with the CIA, but maybe some of the closer ones that could draw this in is President Nixon was the first person to get daily presidential briefings, or at least to have them offered. And he declined them. He wouldn't meet with the agents. He had them deliver them written. And then once he came into office, it turned out that he hadn't even opened them. Jimmy Carter had a terrible relationship with the CIA, of course, and as we saw America on retreat in foreign policy. And Hillary Clinton had a really terrible relationship with intel agents, over blaming them for Benghazi, over her poor security clearances. Agents who I've talked to, they may be a little worried about Donald Trump and what he's doing, but they didn't dislike him like they disliked Hillary Clinton.
And by the way, James Woolsey, who has come over to be won over by Donald Trump, was the CIA director for Bill Clinton and never met with him face to face. But George W. Bush, after 9/11, would meet with the CIA and FBI representatives every single morning before anything got to anywhere else, because Mike Morrell did the personal briefings.
It's absolutely wild. And well, I think we'll see. And by the way, President Barack Obama was hit routinely by the right-wing press and almost never by the Washington Post for not wanting to meet with his intelligence agents, was not trying to meet with the generals who are in charge of Iraq and Afghanistan. And for despite saying he was going to run down these wars and rely on intel, letting them all get out of control where he wasn't meeting with people. And now I think the Washington Post has woken up to it.
Yeah, I'm sensing a double standard, but I'm not going to jump to conclusions. Chris Bedford, thanks so much.
Thank you.
All right, straight ahead, a market milestone. Wall Street aiming for 20,000 today as momentum behind Mr. Trump's victory growing to record numbers. Stuart Varney's here on the curvy couch. I wonder where his money is.
Killed in that same state.
We'll have more on that later. Meanwhile, the stock market opening just about 3 hours from right now, following Friday's record close. Look at that, 19,756. Will we possibly hit 20,000? That's what people are wondering.
The Dow surging nearly 8% since Mr. Trump's, President-elect Trump's victory more than a month ago. So,
What does all this mean for you and your family? Here to weigh in is Stuart Varney, host of Varney & Company on FBN. Nice to see you, Stuart.
That's what everybody wants to know. You've got a whopping great big Wall Street rally. What does it mean for you? Well, it means if you've got a 401k, if you've got an IRA, if you are saving for retirement or for college, you're doing well. It also means that as we approach Christmas, it's a very positive Christmas season. There's a mood of optimism in the air as the stock market goes up.
What's the reason for this?
That's very simple. Number one, Donald Trump's policies will give us, are theoretically going to give us double the rate of growth that we've had for the last 2 years.
How's he going to be able to do that?
Because he's got massive stimulus. Cut taxes for individuals, pumps a ton of money into the economy. Cut taxes for corporations, ton of money goes into the economy. You spend on the military, you spend on infrastructure. That is stimulus, big time. Secondly,
you mean big league?
Whatever you say. I just speak American these days. But he's going to deregulate two key industries, the financial industry and the energy industry. Very, very good news for economic growth down the road. And lastly, the man is appointing a very pro-business cabinet full of CEOs, hands-on managers who get things done.
So the fact that he's saying to companies, you better not leave, you're going to get hit with the tariff. He's saying to carrier, you know, I'm going to go one-on-one with any company that's going to leave, has not hurt the economy?
Look, business doesn't like being bullied like that, but business likes the idea of massive tax cuts, both for individuals and for business. Sure. I mean, the economy likes the idea of bringing back some of the $2 trillion that American companies have lodged overseas because of high tax rates here.
And I imagine a lot of this has to do with the Republican Congress, because you could have great ideas, but if you can't move it through Congress, it's not going to happen. And they see 52 senators now and a majority in the House, and they think this guy might be able to get this done.
Yes, because he can get it done. That's the policy. Can he get it through Congress? It's a Republican Congress. Probably he can.
Okay, so if we are getting really close to 20,000, we may hit that. But as you look at the stock market rally, and a lot of people are going, oh, we thought the stock market was going to go down, so we're all in cash, and now we're caught exposed. It's not a broad rally because there's one particular section of the economy that has not really been motivated, and those people are going to go sit down with Mr. Trump on Wednesday.
You're talking Silicon Valley, the big titans of Silicon Valley. Their stocks, Apple, Google, Facebook, did not participate in this great big rally. They did not. So Donald Trump, actually, through Peter Thiel and Jared Kushner, his son-in-law, they have invited the leaders of Silicon Valley, hey, you come and meet us on Wednesday of this week. And they're coming. Tim Cook and all the rest of them, they're going to be there. Well, this is a clash of the titans. This is a confrontation.
The problem is they're all going to be at Hillary's Christmas party, whenever that is, because they are big Clinton supporters. Do you think they can be won over? Does business matter more than politics?
They want a deal. What Silicon Valley, of course, and this is the art of the deal. What Silicon Valley wants is a lot more visas, so that they can staff their operations with high-tech workers from overseas. What Donald Trump wants is, hey, you bring back that money from overseas, you put it to work in the American economy, and why don't you build some iPhones in America? That's the clash that's shaping up here.
And Condoleezza Rice can help with that because she's out in Stanford at the Hoover Institute, and she can really bridge that gap, perhaps. Condoleezza Rice.
Oh, yeah. There you go.
Oh, yeah.
Stuart, we're going to be watching you 2.5 hours from right now over on the Fox Business Network.
Excellent. And I'll be there.
Thank you, sir.
Thanks, everybody. Yes, 9 to noon. Thank you very much, Brian.
All right.
Excellent stuff.
Meanwhile, coming up on this Monday, everybody's talking about Secretary of State, but President-elect Donald Trump is on the verge of another cabinet pick, and the top candidate for this one is a very familiar face.
And a good dancer.
And a Navy SEAL veteran going above and beyond to support police officers and their families. His mission and how you can help. That's coming up next.
But happy birthday to Bob Barker. He is just 93 years old.
Fantastic.
Very good in that Adam Sandler movie. All right, over the weekend, you had a huge weekend. We're going to come up, get details on it over the next hour, but I had a chance to go to Jacksonville to wrap up my tour for Thomas Jefferson, the Tripoli Pirates. We ended with a big event with my affiliate on radio, WFOV.
How did it go? Did anyone show up? No.
Yeah. Oh, my goodness, that's great.
Good crowd. Everyone had a really good time. We went for 90 minutes. Rich Jones was a huge help. WOKV is our huge affiliate in Jacksonville. Had a chance to do that, meet some exciting people, and before we were able to sign a lot of the books, it is a great town. Now, these people are extremely special. They gave me something because they watched the show. They know I have 2 dogs. They invented the double dog walker called Double Doggy. They gave me this and some straps. So now,
leashes.
2 leashes, 2 leashes, and it allows me, they say, both my Great Pyrenees will not cross each other.
That's great.
With this new invention.
That's
this moves
genius.
back and forth. Isn't
That changes everything.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Now, Caitlin, at 13 years old, can walk 220 pounds of dog.
That's fantastic.
I think that's pretty much bad.
Oh, come on, they walk her.
Right.
We know how it goes.
No, but special thanks to everyone that showed up. I truly appreciate it, and the support the book. And I might move to Jacksonville. It is so nice.
It's warm there too.
And there's so many big
The
Fox
beach
and
is
Friends
there.
supporters, and
Yep.
a lot of
You're close to
people.
Florida State. You can go to some football games.
Absolutely.
A lot of golf. If you'd like more information about the Double Doggy, it's doubledoggy.com.
That's awesome.
Great.
Yeah.
Nice of you to talk about
Very
that.
nice. All right, 26 minutes now before the top of the hour, and we are tracking some extreme weather as snow, sleet, and plunging temperatures get ready to wreak havoc on the Northeast after a stop in the north around the Great Lakes states.
Mother Nature already unleashing her fury on the Midwest, dumping as much as 10 inches of snow across the Great Lake region and creating an absolute travel nightmare.
They say it's a catastrophe for passengers aboard this Delta flight. I think so, too, as it skid right off a snowy Detroit runway. This morning it happened. Dozens of cancellations and delays already rolling in from major cities across the country.
All right, let's travel over to Janice Dean, the winter weather machine. Janice, when I got up this morning, there were about 2 inches of snow.
Did you wear your galoshes?
I actually wore
today the mover, but for now, millions of people are trying to travel, and you can see we've got a wintry mix of snow, freezing rain, sleet, and also rain as we've got a changeover. Winter weather advisories are posted still. In some cases, we could get 6 inches of heavy snowfall for New England, but as you can see, we've also got that mixture in the pink. That's going to be really dangerous, so just be really careful if you have to travel. Taking a look at your future radar, so we get rid of this system, a new system moves in. It's a weaker storm, but it is still going to bring a wintry mix to the Northeast and the Mid-Atlantic. And then our next big story that we are going to be covering this week that's going to make headlines is the polar plunge. In some cases, we could get record lows across the Northeast and the Great Lakes, single digits, Heather Nauert, by week's end. So that's what we're going to be tracking. And Heather, back to you.
All right, Janice, thank you. Thank you so much. I've got a couple of headlines to bring you. I'll take it away from here right now. Do you remember this infamous moment from former Texas Governor Rick Perry?
It's 3 agencies of government when I get there that are gone. Commerce, education, and the, what's the third one there? Let's see. I can't. The third one I can't. Sorry. Oops.
Oops, well, that third one was the Department of Energy, and there's good reason for him to remember that agency right now. Perry is reportedly Mr. Trump's leading candidate for the Secretary of Energy. Senators Joe Manchin and Heidi Heitkamp are also in the running for that. The pick could be announced as early as tomorrow. A veteran's body left in the shower of a Florida VA hospital for 9 hours after he had died. A shocking internal report revealing the major missteps that workers allegedly then tried to cover up. The report pointing out the blatant lack of respect for that deceased veteran who died while in hospice care. No one has been fired for this. Well, this is just the latest in a series of incidents uncovering the lack of proper care and accountability at our VA hospitals. What a disgrace. And then after months of fighting, the teenager whose foot was blown off by an explosive in Central Park is finally getting his prosthetic paid for. Connor Golden needed his leg amputated after he stepped on a homemade explosive back in July. United Healthcare initially refused to pay for the prosthetic, claiming there was confusion over Connor's benefits. Well, that has now all been cleared up, but the family still says that United won't pay for his wheelchair. United says they're working to find one that's eligible for his coverage. And safe spaces are invading college campuses, but a group of students is now taking legal action, fighting for their right to free speech. Grand Valley State University in Michigan slapped with a lawsuit accused of violating the First Amendment. The students say the administration threatened to arrest him for talking to classmates about the First Amendment outside of 2 free speech zones on campus. The school now denying those allegations. We'll watch that story and bring you the latest. And those are your headlines. Brian?
Hey, thanks, Ed. This year alone, 137 police officers have been killed in the line of duty, 62 of them by gunfire. Now, one veteran is going beyond and above and beyond to use his small business to make the lives of the families who lost a loved one a little bit easier.
Here to share his story, former Navy SEAL and co-founder of Strikeforce Energy, Sean Madsen, along with former police officer and spokesperson for Blue Lives Matter. Thank you so much, Randy Sutton, for being here.
Thank you for having us.
Sean and I bonded because he's got this great Christmas jacket on.
I know. I mean,
I love this.
It screams patriotism. It's red, white, and blue, and obviously shows our support for the Blue Lives Matter. And
tell us how this happened.
So it became. I own another company called Madbach, and we were working with a gentleman down in Tampa on a defense product, and he showed us this product, and we started going with a joint venture. And as soon as I tried it, I knew that it was going to be a hit.
It's an energy drink, right? But it's healthy.
It's a healthier alternative to a canned energy drink. That packet retails for $1. And it's equivalent to a medium cup of coffee. It's 160 milligrams of caffeine.
So you're doing well, and somehow you guys meet. Randy, you say you guys met on social media?
Social media, absolutely. And as a veteran and a veteran business, these are the people that Blue Lives Matter wants to co-op with. And we reached out and created a relationship, and Sean came up with the idea, we want to help the law enforcement. How do we help? So he's donating partial proceeds to Blue Lives Matter, which is going to use this to educate law enforcement, to bring the community and the police closer together, because that's what Blue Lives Matter, that's our goal, is to unite the people and the police.
I appreciate this because my husband is a first responder. He is FDNY. And so this brings us all together, the uniform and what that means to serve and to protect and to help others. So I appreciate that. Sean, I mean, you drank a lot of energy drinks, and this stuff tastes good.
That's correct. We're actually, since January when we started the company, we've been growing at 77% month over month. And 46% of our customers are coming back to become repeat customers. And
yeah, no, I need to try this stuff.
Just a quick tear.
Early mornings, we need this.
You know what's going to put you over the top, too? If you have a choice to get energy drink and also support Blue Lives Matter and support a veteran-owned business,
absolutely,
that's a killer combination for a very patriotic country.
The code is
Shaken and stirred.
Blue Matters 20, and it gives you 20% off your order, and 10% of that order goes straight back to Blue Lives Matter.
I am not lying. This tastes delicious. And 0 calories, ladies. This is really good. And that's in the mornings.
Hey, can we just say this? No matter how early you go to bed, if you're doing a morning show and you got to be alert, we need some type of stimulus, and we can't be buying stuff on the street corner.
Absolutely.
So we need something that's over the counter.
It goes with you anywhere. You know, it's perfect for the law enforcement officers. They're obviously working long hours, and it's a healthier alternative.
Website?
StrikeForceEnergy.com, and use the promo code Blue Matters 20. 20% off.
And here's to it, Sean. I think both you and Randy are going to get some support in the White House at 1600 Pennsylvania Avenue starting after inauguration. Guys, thanks so much.
I think so, too.
Merry
And
Christmas.
if you would, BlueLivesMatter.blue is where to become members of our group, and that's where they can find the energy drink as well.
Thank you. Thank you for all you do for our country.
All right. Great job, guys. Glad you're together. Stephen Ainsley, what's next?
Thank you very much for asking, Brian. The mainstream media wasting no time labeling Rex Tillerson as a big oil billionaire with ties to Vladimir Putin. But is this just another attempt to delegitimize the election results? We've got a fair and balanced debate coming up next.
And this restaurant complaint going viral after a customer asked for holiday music because Christmas music is too offensive. The owner posting it online saying, "What's wrong with people?" He's going to join us live straight ahead.
President-elect Donald Trump dismissing CIA reports that Russia rigged the election.
I think it's ridiculous. I think it's just another excuse. I don't believe it. I think the Democrats are putting it out because they suffered one of the greatest defeats in the history of politics in this country.
So does he have a point? Or is there really a Kremlin conspiracy here? Join us to debate this. We've got Ian Pryor, the communications director for American Crossroads. He's on the right. And Jammu Green, former 2008 Clinton campaign advisor and Fox News political analyst. She's on the left, but actually screen right there. Jammu, let's start with you. Did Russia help Donald Trump win the election?
Well, it's certainly what the intelligence community is reporting, and the idea that Donald Trump went from cheerleading Russia to get more engaged in our election to now protecting them is outrageous. This is just another example of his inability to put our national security interests above his ego. They delegitimized our election. Whether you are a Democrat or a Republican, a Libertarian, anything, we are all Americans, and we should all be up in arms.
Well, Ian, the CIA said they thought that Russia was involved, but the FBI said there's no evidence to that effect.
Yeah, absolutely. I think we need to back this up a little bit. We're talking about two stridently anti-Trump publications, the New York Times, the Washington Post, running with information provided by unnamed Obama administration officials. The same Obama administration that said, if you like your health care plan, you can keep it. That said, Benghazi was caused by a video. That said, the ISIS was the JV team. So, no, not everybody should take as gospel information that comes from unnamed Obama administration officials. And that's what we have here.
Okay, let's talk about something else where there's a firestorm of media controversy. Media is blasting Rex Tillerson, the guy who runs ExxonMobil, as a big oil billionaire with ties to Vladimir Putin. Take a look at some of the recent media headlines against him. The Washington Post is right there. It says Tillerson might be the worst Secretary of State contender on Trump's list. Houston Chronicle takes a shot. Politico, not surprising, and Vox as well. All right, Jamu, do you have a problem with him?
Yes. Putin literally put a medal on him. The idea that, again, this is going to be the top diplomat who has made it very clear his allegiance with Russia, coming after or being very much against the U.S. sanctions that went after Russia a couple of years ago. This is another example, again, of Donald Trump's inability to drain the swamp, as he said he would, but of the unprecedented involvement of a foreign government, not just now in our election, but the access they will have in our State Department is shocking.
Ian, this guy, who a lot of people had not heard of till last week, was recommended by Condi Rice and Robert Gates, former Secretary of Defense. So obviously, if these two vets of cabinets said, this is the guy who would help you, Mr. Trump, probably ought to take a look at him.
Yeah, definitely. And look, I think it's encouraging that 4 years after mocking Mitt Romney for calling Russia our #1 geopolitical foe, the media and Democrats are starting to come around on Russia. But the bottom line is Rex Tillerson ran one of the biggest, most successful international companies in the world. He brings an outsider's expertise and perspective to a department that is sorely lacking in that. And yes, he has done deals with Russia on behalf of his company. But just because they are a geopolitical rival does not mean that we need to start World War III. When they need to be checked, we check them. When we need to work with them and our interests align, we do that.
We
and
need
the fact
to check
that somebody
them now.
Understands
we
Russia
need to check
and has
them
worked
now.
with
And
Russia
you know who agrees
is
with that?
important.
It's
And
Marco
I would say,
Rubio.
look,
It's John
understanding
McCain.
this, understanding this is important. The
It's
best
Rand
country
Paul.
in the world needs to work with the biggest country in the world when their interests align. It's that
who are
simple.
willing to put their country first, and instead of Donald Trump, and I guess as well as my colleague here, instead of putting our country first, going into these Trump talking points and living in a world of delusion, denying reality,
Russia was a rival in 1941, and we had to work with them to win World War II. Did we not?
Any place in our electoral process.
All right.
Period. It's not going to change the election, but we need to investigate this, and there are smart Republicans who are saying the same thing.
I think the Senate will look into it. That's their job. All right, Ian and Jamu, thank you very much for joining us live early on this Monday morning.
Thank you, Steve.
You bet. All right, meanwhile, if you're easily offended, you better plug your ears right now.
Have a holly jolly Christmas. It's the best time of
Apparently the song you're listening to is offensive. A customer left this note at a Florida diner, creating a Christmas Carol controversy. The owner of that restaurant joins us live.